And hi, everybody. Good evening. I don't know where you're watching from. Venturing into live streaming. This is the first time for me, so bear with me as I learn to operate YouTube Studio and all the software. So I'm still learning, but anyway, this is pretty exciting for me. It's pretty exciting just to get to hang out with you guys. If you're there, I know some of you are there, and drop me a hello in the chat just to make sure that I'm not broadcasting to just space. I see there's a couple of people joining, so on and so forth. If not, that's fine. I'm just gonna get through this for my first live stream of Beto on Base. If you don't know me, I'm Beto on Base. I've been in the crypto market for a couple of years now, on and off for like 5 or 6 years, a couple of cycles, but really not really into it until just a couple of years ago, with 2024. 2024 meme pump that happened in April back then. But anyway, just wanted to stop by and give you a little bit of information as to what the show will be about. Hopefully, I'll be streaming every Monday, and the whole point of this is to just talk about the market ahead of a week. And my goal is that when the market starts pumping really crazy, when the market starts going crazy and euphoria, you'll have a place to come and just hang out and look at the charts, because we're going to be looking at charts, especially if you're in several projects. You're going to be looking at charts and just checking out kind of what's going on. I went through that maybe 4 or 5 years ago with the whole GME and AMC in the stock market when those short squeezes happened. That I was there, and I had to look for information on streaming. People that were streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, I should say, and that was really helpful because you were watching what was going on. I mean, there's so much information nowadays that I don't think streaming will be as big, but maybe it is. But anyway, I just want to do this. I get a lot of fun out of this. I'm not a technical analysis expert or a crypto expert, but I'm a communicator, and I love crypto, so I think it works out. Anyway, just want to give a shout out to Knizzy. What is up, man? And Javier de la Garza. Thank you guys for stopping by. I appreciate it. So my first 2 viewers. This is exciting, guys. I did broadcast journalism for like 15 years back when I was a little bit younger. I started when I was like 24, and I did sports broadcasting locally for about a market that's about 2 million people, maybe more, because it was at two cities. Actually multiple cities. So I was doing broadcasts, and I did it live, and I did it, that sort of stuff. But anyway, I'm getting butterflies because this is like the same feeling that I got, that like that adrenaline. But anyway, I'm sure it's going to go away. And anyway, I'm just excited to do this. What I got going on for today is just a couple of market checks in terms of what's going on at the macro level. Give you some numbers just to tell you where we are, give you a couple of information, a little bit of information in terms of news. I'll definitely check out the Sheb on Base chart with you guys. I'll check a couple of other projects that I like on the base chain. I won't go with the big ones like Brett and what's the other one, the big one, Toshi, and those. You can check those out. I like looking at projects and the whole thesis behind, how I invest, or how I've been investing for the past 2 years. Is I'm really shooting big in a conservative way, maybe, if you call it that. I am, putting not all my eggs in one basket, a couple of baskets, but I'm making big investments because I think that the return is going to be worth it. There's many ways of going in investing. You can approach it in many ways. You can put all your funding, all your funds in one play. I know some people that are doing that. To me, that's perfectly fine as long as you find the right play. But you could also diversify, right? I think more conservative investors talk about diversifying, and they want you to, put a little bit everywhere. They'll split. If you have $1,000, do like 500 on Bitcoin, 200 on Ethereum, and then the other 300 spread it out in other altcoins, and maybe like 100 in meme coins. I don't know. That's like a way of doing it. I'm going with 2-3 big projects that I think are going to go very well when the true bull run hits. And then, a little bit on some very, very high risk plays. And I'm just going all in, right? Because I really want to make sure that I maximize this cycle, because I've missed a couple of cycles already in terms of what I did. I actually rode the last one in stocks. I played around and I scalped SHIB, the old SHIB, and then I scalped also Dogecoin. I made some money and I was able to put it down for a down payment for a home, and so it worked. But anyway, I'm looking bigger, thinking bigger. And my whole saying in crypto is that, why not me, right? And this goes for you, right? Why not you? So many people make it. Obviously, look, the numbers are against us because about 90 something percent of people that are in the crypto market are going to not succeed. And you've seen it. If you've been around a crypto project, some of you are in SHIB on base, some of you are on Bitcoin on base, and some other projects, people will just emotionally, get wrecked, and either something sets them off and they'll leave, right? And they'll sell at a loss, and they'll move on to another play, and then they'll probably do the same thing elsewhere. So one of the things that, yo, Blue on base, good to see you here. Thanks for joining. And anyway, so, the crypto market is rough anyway, but what I was trying to get to is that, you got to persevere, right? And you got to pull through. And that's why community is so important. And I think this is one of the reasons also why I'm live streaming now. And look, my setup is not cool. I will work on that. I will, make sure that this is nicer, and the videos each day keep getting nicer. It's hard with a full-time job and then, responsibilities and family. But anyway, I love doing this and I'm excited to be here. But again, so that's the whole reason behind this. That's the whole reason behind this stream. I'll hopefully be doing it every week, but if not, I'll probably be doing it on weekends when there's action going on and when there's, important moments for some of these projects that we can watch the chart and just take a look at the news. So anyway, again, thanks for joining, guys. I'm going to start, heading into a little bit of what I got for you guys tonight. And let's get to some of the charts. And that was some joke right there. Let's get to some of the charts. I want to definitely show you some of the charts and what's going on. I was just listening to Armando Armandamus from the SHIB on base community. He does a fantastic job of. Anyway, shout out to Armando. I don't know if he's watching or he'll watch. Hopefully he will. But anyway, shout out to Armando. He's one of the people I look up to when it comes to the charts. Like I said, I'm not a chart guru, but I communicate and I can read a little bit the charts and the numbers and just share kind of the, what's going on. And in terms of what's going on in the market right now, obviously it turned on and it's been going on really nicely for the last few days at the beginning of the year. This is a really nice start for 2026. And Bitcoin is back up above $93,000 and it's pushing up and looks like it might hit 94,000, which is pretty impressive considering where we've been for the last, month or so. It's just been a cascade ever since October 10th. Remember that liquidation event that happened a while back? It looks like things are turning around, and there's things happening at the macro level that are important that I think are going to be catalysts for a bull run. Definitely, I am convinced that the 4-year cycle is pretty much toast, and now we're looking at a different, dynamic. And look, we'll see. We'll see where the peak of Bitcoin is in 6 months or a year, and then we'll measure from there, right? But for now, I'm still waiting, right? I've been in the market now almost 2 years, not full time, but really paying close attention, not on and off, and with investments, allocated. And I'm still hopeful, and I think I'm positive. Not certain, nothing's a certainty, but I'm excited about kind of where it's going and where we are. Let me see if I can pull a chart. So give me a second, guys. I'm gonna try to pull the. If you see me here, I'm gonna try to get the chat so I can see it and chat with you guys and put it on the side so you don't have to see my face, double face. But anyway. What I was saying is I think that the market's gonna pump. Eventually it's gonna pump. There's still a lot of things that need to happen, and I'll talk about those in a second. And you're looking at the blue chart. I'll talk about blue in a second. But some of the things that are going on in terms of the market, Bitcoin, like I was saying, was surging to 93,000, which is pretty exciting. The fear and greed index is at 49, which is pretty interesting considering just about 4 weeks ago it was in the red. It was likely like around 10 or 12, which was pretty crazy to see. I don't think I've ever seen it that far down, and people are pretty scared about investing, about putting money in the market, especially in crypto and especially in memes. I unfortunately did not have a lot during the last 3 months to allocate to my bags, but I already had pretty good bags. over the last year and a half that I've accumulated, and I think it's I'm still waiting to see, and I'm just accumulating now whenever I can. I'm comfortable with the positions I have, and I don't really see a need for adding more positions. Maybe I will. But anyway, that's up to you guys, right? That's up to your risk tolerance level. For me, I'm at a really comfortable place. I could add more, but it just depends on your responsibilities, right? It depends on where you're at financially, what time of the year and all that stuff. But I think the start of the year has gone really, really good. In terms of the total crypto market cap, it's at $3.2 trillion. There's still about 1 trillion below the peak. I believe it was last year. Let me see. Let's see, a year ago, I think the peak was around 4.2 trillion in October 5th. And that's when like 5 days after is when all the craziness happened with the big red candles and all that. But I think it's bottoming out. There's a double bottom right here on the total crypto market cap, maybe even like a cup and handle forming. But anyway, just looking at it from bird's eye view, and I think it's going to go up. I mean, everything points to a nice 2026, especially when everybody thought 2025 was going to be really cool. So let's take a quick look at the blockchains by value. Base is now fifth. And that's pretty good because a lot of the projects that I look at and that we'll look at, and some of the projects that you guys follow and that are invested in are on the Base chain. And obviously we're here for a reason, right? Base is a very promising ecosystem where it's cheap to trade, it's cheap to buy in, and the friction to get into the market for normies or for other types of investors that have never touched crypto is pretty straightforward with the Base app. It's still like an app I think that's going to need to be refined. It's getting there. It's fun, but I think that's going to definitely bring some people. So that's why, in many ways, that's why I'm here. Maybe you guys, that's why you're here as well. But Base is now fifth. Tron has always been above Base from what I remember. So now Base is in the fifth location. It's going to be really hard to flip BNB, but it definitely could happen. And then obviously Bitcoin, Solana. Solana, it's TVL. Total value locked is at 9 trillion, 8 trillion, about 9 trillion. That's pretty insane. And Ethereum is pretty high up there. So anyway, those are just the chains, but Base is looking good, 9.3%. And I'll show you some other tools that I look at eventually. I nerd out on some of this stuff. I'm not a numbers. It's funny because I'm not a numbers person. And I've never been a numbers guy at school. I never loved math. But now when it comes to crypto, I'm so into it because the numbers tell a story, right? And it's like looking at the chart. I'm a very visual person, and the numbers tell you a story of what's going up, what's going down, what's looking promising, and really tendencies in terms of movement of price action are it's not certain always, but there's always something that's to be read, or it's something that's to be learned from numbers. And to me, when you start seeing the numbers, they don't lie, and it's something that I look at. But anyway, so Base is looking really good. Let me show you the top memes on the Base chain. And number one is Brett, and this obviously we all know that Brett is at just below $200 million market cap, at an all-time high. I would think it was above or close to $1 billion. So that one, I think Brett still has time, room to grow. It'll pump because a lot of people know Brett just because of notoriety, and Toshi as well. But I think that, one thing that I always think about is the potential, right? Maybe, what if Brett does, 10x, 20x? That's pretty fantastic. But what if you found a token that does, 120x? Or more, so I think that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at higher, not higher risk, but higher ceiling, right? Tokens that have a higher ceiling, and SHIB on Base is one of them for me. Definitely Bitcoin on Base, Bitcoin on Virtuals as well is something I'm looking at and that I hold. And some couple of other tokens that I'll share with you today. By the way, if you have any tokens or anything that you want me to look at in terms of the chart, we can definitely look at it. I can't promise you that it'll be so in depth, but I can definitely take a look at and do a little bit of a read. But SHIB on Base was I was very excited. I think we're all pretty pumped because it was up within the top nine tokens on the Base chain. and now it's down. I think a lot of these tokens, went berserk over the last few days. It's almost like a tiny meme season that happened over the last few days. And we're at about the 13th position in terms of SHIB on base. That's one that I hold. Obviously, Brett's number one, Toshi number two, DGen, Ponky, and then a bunch of other ones that, they're cool tokens. I don't hold them though. I had at one point, I had Mr. Miggles, and I had Toshi. I really thought Toshi was going to do very well a couple of years ago, but I think the market had just not been there. But Toshi definitely still, could do very well. I mean, those two, Brett and Toshi, are likely the ones that are going to be running, because they're the first ones to run. Kind of like Bitcoin, right? It runs first, and then everything else will, according to past cycles and so on and so forth. But anyway, this is going to be a very interesting bull run whenever it's the actual peak of the bull run, because I don't think we've had so many big projects, which is something that kind of concerns me in a way that I think it might be a different cycle for all these meme coins, because before I at least I don't recall there being as many projects out there. And I think that there's some devaluation that happens, just like anything. If there's too much of anything, it's like supply and demand, right? If there's too much supply, there's the cost is less. And if there's too many projects, then the TVL or the value of each project is going to be lower, because at some point you have some spreading of the funding or the liquidity throughout those projects. So anyway, not to get too deep into that, but anyway, it's going to be interesting. So a couple of things in terms of news that we can talk about, that I want to talk about to you guys, getting you ready for this week, is that, and look, Tom Lee, that guy's always saying stuff. He's like the biggest shiller ever. He's always shilling Ethereum and Bitcoin, obviously. And he's always, I just think he likes being on TV. And it's weird because I don't think he has a great personality for TV, but he says a lot of things that people want to hear, right? He's always pumping Ethereum. He's always pumping Bitcoin. And now he's saying that Bitcoin could hit 250K in 2026 if the 4-year cycle breaks, which I think the 4-year cycle already broke, because we're past, right, that peak that was that we were thinking, unless some of you had it peaking in January or Q1. I don't think anybody had that. I think most people had it peaking in December or November, December of last year. And so anyway, he's saying that we're going to hit 250K in 2026. Definitely possible. I don't know if we'll go that high. But anyway, people are talking about it now, right? I think it's good now that people are pumped about crypto again. Just in a couple of days, things changed, things flipped. And look, one of the things that I was saying in one of the videos that I did recently was that people were distracted with the holidays. And maybe for you guys, for me, that every day we're on Telegram, every day we're on X, and we're watching kind of what's going on with crypto. And it's sometimes it's dreadful, right? It's pretty hard. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people come in, they'll throw their money in there. They don't get on Telegram. They don't join the communities. They'll just, go through it, and then, they'll bail, and they'll go with their on with their lives, right? They'll go into the holidays. They'll, spend time with the family. Yeah, they might look at their Bitcoin, because they might still hold that a little bit, but in the long run, they're not as involved. And for a lot of us, we're here, almost not 24/7, but a good part of our day. And all those people are starting to come back, right? All those people that were away from the holidays ever since probably like Thanksgiving, people start getting distracted in the United States, and then they're coming back, and then we got some bullish news here and there, and now people are getting excited about crypto again. So definitely seeing it in the charts where Bitcoin is up, Ethereum is up, and all these other assets, even the meme coins are up, like Brett, Toshi, a lot of those are up. So we saw SHIB on base running before everybody, and now kind of everybody caught up with what's going on. And I'll take a look at some of those charts that I was mentioning a little bit ago. So anyway, if you're joining, thanks for joining, guys. Drop a hello in the chat. Again, this is Beto on Base Live. This is the first time I'm doing this, so I'm pretty excited. And again, this stream is basically going to be, market watch, meme coin watch, especially meme coins with utility, because those are my preferred type of tokens at this point. But definitely just talking about crypto in general, and I appreciate it. This is going to be hopefully a stream that's going to be happening when all the frenzy happens, when the craziness happens of the top of the bull market. Hopefully it's this year. Hopefully it's in a few months. If not, I'll be here until my wife lets me, or life lets me. Anyway, let's continue on with a couple of other stories. And thanks for the hearts, thanks for the support, guys. I appreciate that. One of the other stories that was really interesting, and obviously a lot of you guys saw the news about Venezuela, right? We all saw the news about Venezuela, and interesting that and Armando was talking about it in that stream, on the Shiv on Base stream. Normally, for when something like this happens, when there's geopolitical tensions, the market reacts very poorly, and we see a lot of red. Bitcoin drops, everything starts going into the gutter. But this one, it was different, and I think it makes sense, right? I think that for many years, Venezuela has been like an X factor in the world's economy, especially because they look, and I'm not a geopolitics expert or macroeconomics expert, but look, this is pretty simple. Like, the fact that U.S. went in there, and politics aside, whether it was right or wrong, at this point in crypto doesn't matter. I think what matters is the impact that it had, and I think that it had a positive impact in the economy, at least for now, because people are starting to price in the fact that U.S. has going to have control of that, all that oil, and how it's purchased, how it's sold, and all that stuff. And then they're going to have control of Venezuela's Bitcoin holdings, which apparently it's a lot. Apparently it's like Venezuela was in the top maybe 5 or 8 holders of Bitcoin in terms of government. That's pretty crazy, right? I don't know what's going to happen with that Bitcoin. I have my thoughts about, kind of what's going on with that, but that has nothing to do with the fact that this completely sparked the economy. And I think a lot of people are seeing this as an opportunity, that the economy is going to turn, that there's going to be green pasture ahead for the economy. There's going to be some good stuff happening. And then all the macros, all the things that are going on in terms of legislation, and we're going to talk about legislation some other day. It's not as, I guess, fun to talk about than, certain meme stuff. But, that's part of why we're here, right? We want to know what's going on at the legislature, in the Senate and Congress, and when all the, like the Clarity Act and all that crypto legislation, the framework's going to happen, because that impacts our investments. And whether you have Bitcoin or whether you have, a meme coin, eventually it's going to trickle down, and eventually it's going to impact your investment. So I'll talk about that kind of stuff in the stream every once in a while, but definitely have to talk about this, because if in fact the U.S. will take control of the Bitcoin holdings from Venezuela, that's just another, huge bag right there that's going to be in control of the U.S. And it just strengthens the U.S. Aside from all the, crazy shit that could happen with China getting pissed off, or Russia being, possibly getting pissed off. Who knows what could happen? But for now, I think the market is responding really nicely, and it's nice to see, especially at the beginning of the year. So, looking at forward, I'm looking at like a very, very great, month of March, April, maybe May and June, and we'll see what happens with the summer, because the summer is usually kind of choppy, and so on and so forth. So anyway, let's jump into a couple of tokens again. And one thing that I'll do in the stream is probably just last maybe like 45 minutes to an hour. I know people have lives, and I have a life as well, but I think it's cool just to do this. And again, if you have projects that you want me to take a look at, I'll do. And let's do that right now. Let's take a look at Shiv on Base first. And it's one of my favorite projects on the Base chain. If you're not familiar with it, Shiv on Base, it's just an amazing CTO led by Paul, the dev. And essentially what's going on right now, this is a utility token that has a partnership with Eli 5A, who's developing or has developed the AI behind the Pauline, a veterinarian app that's going to be released pretty soon. And from what I hear and from what I read, the app is very close to being released. Maybe that's why we've seen a couple of the pumps that we've seen, because people are starting to anticipate the release of the app. And look, very simple, in very simple terms. This is the chart. This is the daily chart. I like looking at the daily chart first. It really tells a story. But the fact that the app is going to be released, it's definitely going to bring a lot more eyeballs and a lot more looks towards Bitcoin or Shiv on Base, I should say. This project already like broke the top 10 in terms of meme tokens on the base chain, which is something to be said because it's only been really being worked on for the last 6 or 7 months. And look, I got into this project fairly early, a little bit, because I always like to check out a project and really do my due diligence. I don't just ape in. I learned the hard way to not ape into projects and lose money, right? I did that a lot in 2024. I don't even know how much money I lost. I should really look at it, but I don't think I want to. But many times I was burned, and I think you guys have probably been through that. But I went into this project. I went into the Telegram, didn't say anything. I was just reading a lot and looking at what the project was doing, looking at what the dev was doing, but also just looking at what the dev was doing after saying he was going to do it, right? That's something that you got to look into. There's many things that I look into when I'm looking at investing in a project, but I want to, I've been burned by so many devs that's the first thing that I look at. Who's leading the project and are they doing the things that they're saying that they're going to do? That's really important. And Paul from Shiv on Base was on top of everything, and he's been very transparent, and he's been very accessible as well. And one of my bigger holdings is I don't know, I should be talking about my holdings, but one of the I'm all in, not all in, but close to all in with Shiv on Base. And if you're on Shiv on Base, definitely a project that you need to look at. So let me look at the 4-hour chart real quick, just to give you like a closer picture as to see what's going on with the chart. It's looking nice. It's been step climbing for the past 2-3 weeks. It started back back on December 23rd. It started moving up, and then it went over the $4 million market cap. It's above the $6 million market cap, and really interesting and really nicely. Let me do this for you. It's forming a pennant, right here, and that's good to me, right? I think that's gonna be, and this is looking like approximately, and everything's approximate. When I chart, it's impossible to time things perfectly, but it looks like January 7th, this week, looks like a inflection point where either it's gonna come down to retest the not retest, but see if retest the support of 6 mil, or actually start climbing back up and break out. I think it depends on the release of the app. That could be something that pushes it forward. But looking at the logarithmic, let's see if I don't screw it up. Yeah, looking at the logarithmic, and I'm gonna close the gap. I'm gonna make this the daily, so you can see kind of where we are in terms of, look, we're not too far. I know Armando was talking about this earlier, like I said, in their VC, but we're not too far from what could be like a pretty spectacular breakout once we break a couple red lines, and we go into space. And literally that's what this is, like space, right? And we can pump all the way up to maybe like 30 mil and then come back down, depending on kind of how far we go into like above 10 and like 13 or 15 mil. That would be pretty spectacular. That would be pretty cool to see. That's probably the most fun stuff in crypto, right? When your project is pumping, that's pretty amazing and pretty exciting. So anyway, that's kind of where Shiv on Base is currently at $6.5 million market cap. It's it looks like it's coiling up one more time, this time above the $6 million market cap. And who knows, right? Let me see where this, last pump all the way we've gone up, let's see, 200%. So let me see what happens if we do 200% from where we are right now, from the end of that peak. So let's do 200%. I'm not even going to, actually 200% is right above 20 mil. So that'd be pretty spectacular if it goes up 20 mil. I think people are going to be pumped, and a lot more eyes are going to, come into Shiv on Base. Let me skip over to the Bitcoin on Base and Bitcoin on Base and Bitcoin on Virtuals ecosystem for you guys. Bitcoin on Base is an older token, about a year and a half old. It's also a CTO, and now what Bitcoin on Base is doing is mining Bitcoin through a partnership with HashPower. And now I'll talk about Bitcoin on Virtuals because now they're like partner tokens. Bitcoin on Virtuals is doing the same. However, Bitcoin on Virtuals is purchasing their own mining rigs in their mining. There's an airdrop coming for Bitcoin on Base in about 10 days. We're January 5th. It's going to be on the 15th. Currently, it's at 19 cents, about maybe close to 20 cents, and trading at $3 million market cap. So this is like the arrow you see on your screen. That's a huge whale. I think somebody dumped about 350,000 tokens, which was a huge blow. I honestly got pretty bummed because I saw that. But look, I've seen this before, and I drew this blue line on my chart because I knew that the community was going to come back and pick all those tokens up, and other people are going to see it as an opportunity. There's already too many eyes on Bitcoin on Base, on the Base chain and elsewhere, especially after this pump. Let me zoom out for you guys. I'm going to go on the daily so you can see a little bit clearer. But especially after this pump, the big pump that you see here, let me give you an arrow for to show you kind of where this was. Like this pump right here went up above 8 mil, which was close to the all-time high. We had that pump November, right, when the Bitcoin on Virtuals announcement was made. Bitcoin on Base started pumping. If you don't know about these two projects, definitely recommend you go and check out Bitcoin on Base, Bitcoin on Virtuals, and look at specifically the Bitcoin on Virtuals page, because they talk about the partnership and the symbiotic relationship between Bitcoin on Base and Bitcoin on Virtuals and how it's going to work. Look, they're still pretty early in this process, but it's definitely something that's we need to take a look at. But this pump got us trending, or got Bitcoin on Base trading in a lot of places, including StockWits. And a lot of people were trading this outside of, the Base app and so on and so forth. So all those people now, a lot of those folks now have seen what Bitcoin on Base can do. And whether they know the utility and the dynamics of the project or not, it's been in front of their face, right? In their computer screen or in their phone screen. And I think that's important, because when you see something familiar pumping, you feel confidence and you go after it, right? If you're a day trader or swing trader or anything like that. So I think that all those folks are going to, once we start pumping again, they might, come back in. The next resistance for Bitcoin on Base is about the 5 mil, like the bigger resistance, but there's a couple of levels like the 3.68, and obviously these are not exact. But for now, I think 5 mil would be exciting and get us somewhere. So eventually, when this starts pumping as well, I think we're going to do very well. Right now, the volume is 21K, which is not too shabby, considering kind of what's been going on, especially the last couple of months. And recently we saw about 100,000 and above volume a couple of days, which is pretty cool and pretty exciting. But Bitcoin on Base can run. I've seen it run a few times, and I just think once all that liquidity comes in from the true bull market, assets like this one, like SHIB on Base, they're just gonna go insane. And I will be here to check this out. Hey, shout out to Four Wheels Don't Care. Thanks for joining, man. I appreciate you. And you're right. Oh baby, let's go. This is gonna be fun. SHIB on Base, of course. Just talked about it for a second. But let me switch to Bitcoin on Virtuals real quick. And it's just, if you don't know Bitcoin on Virtuals, bear with me. Actually, this is Bitcoin on Virtuals. And Bitcoin on Virtuals is doing kind of the same thing that SHIB on Base is doing. Step climbing, $7,800 in volume over the last 24 hours. 6.4% gains in terms of 24 hours. But it really has done really well ever since December 31st. Look, it's been climbing, and I think a lot of it has to do with the Virtuals ecosystem. And I'll look at Virtuals ecosystem in a second. I think if you're looking into AI projects, definitely look into Virtuals. Even if you just want to invest in an AI sector, The Virtuals ecosystem is pretty fantastic, and Bitcoin on Virtuals is a partner token of Bitcoin on Base, and this is where thanks for you're cute. Bitcoin on Base has a partnership with Bitcoin on Virtuals, and so there's a relationship there. Both tokens are going to benefit from each of the token's success. But at this point, we're getting really close to $1 million market cap. The bottom for Bitcoin on Virtuals was around 400K, which is lower than when it launched. It launched at about 500K. It pumped all the way just on people trading the launch up to like 1.7 mil, and then it just cascaded down as expected. I wasn't concerned about this one because I knew it was going to go back up, especially with the utility that this one has. It was really awesome. Anyway, so it's been climbing again. I think the one level of resistance is the 1 mil. We're getting close to that, but I think it found support at 800 or 900,000, and it's going to continue to go up, especially if the Virtuals ecosystem is pumping. Let me show you Virtuals. Bitcoin on actually not Bitcoin. Virtuals, the Virtuals ecosystem. That Virtuals token, which by the way, it's on the base chain. It's been pumping as well. It's been pumping. It was at 420 mil market cap, and now it's at 700. So it's almost like a 2x from a few days ago. So that's the beauty about these projects and these tokens, that even if you don't want to invest long term, even if you just want to do like swing trades, if you're looking at charts, if you're looking at the market, if you position yourself at the bottom, it's like a big upside, right? You can make, have 5K. Let's say you have 5K to throw around, or even 1,000, right? Even 1,000. If you threw it like $1,000 back here on January 1st, 5 days you make $1,000. That's pretty awesome. If we're not doing much and just reading charts, and that's the beauty of crypto. I don't think any other space provides that. Maybe the stock market, but I think that not very many places can show you that. Let me take a look at Eli 5A, and it looks like my stream is choppiness. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I have too many windows here. My computer froze. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like computer froze. No, there we go. Well, hopefully I'm still there. Let me know if I'm still there. Give me a thumbs up or give me like a little in the chat. I would appreciate it. Just to make sure that I'm still there. Let me see. You might see my face a couple. There we go. All right, so we're good. Yeah, let's talk about Eli 5A. Eli 5A is a project. Thanks for letting me know I'm still online. My computer's a little bit slow. I got a new one, by the way. Not bragging, but I got a new one, so I'll have a nice rig to stream with next time. This one is an old 2019 Mac. I'll have a newer version pretty soon. Anyway, just wanted to share, so it'll get better. But anyway, Eli 5A. Let's take a look at Eli 5A. This is Virtuals Protocol. Let's jump onto Eli 5A. Eli 5A doing very, very well as well. It's been pumping since also, let's see when, since December 24th, December 25th, it started pumping. It's been going up. I think Eli 5A is very undervalued at 583,000 market cap. The volume is at 2,300. Definitely a project that I think it's going to do multiple X's. I think that people haven't found Eli 5A, to be honest. I think people have not found Eli 5A. What's that error? I'm looking at an error. Hopefully it's still streaming. Eli 5A is the project, or is like an AI project, and they're developing, basically it's, explain it like I'm 5, right? That's where Eli 5A comes. And they're developing the AI utility behind the SHIB on Base Pauline vet app. And I think that's look, when SHIB on Base, and I think it will, when SHIB on Base takes off, it's just going to drag up or pull up Eli 5A, because people are going to see that Eli 5A is tied to that. Or look, the opposite could happen, right? A bunch of big investors can find Eli 5A and fall in love with this project and then pull Shib on Base. I think it's going to be the opposite because of the marketing that Shib on Base is ready to do, because the app is just going to bring so many people on board. But Eli 5A might be pulled, right, in the same direction, and I think it will. The top of the chart for Eli 5A is around 700K. Let me see what the all-time high would be. Yeah, I think it's around 700K. This wick was just like a burst when it first launched at 1.4 mil. I think that might be something that it can break. But I love the ascent, right? Look at this blue line and how it's been just ascending. That's very organic. And obviously there's pumps and then there's sell-offs. It's just like microcycles within a project. But I think that once all that liquidity comes into play, and once Shib on Base really starts pumping and the marketing starts cranking, I think that Eli 5A is going to be pulled up. So I'm definitely, obviously not financial advice, but this is one that I would definitely consider as an investment. Look, there's so many. Here's my one concern, and this is just my opinion. My concern with AI projects is that there's so many out there now, and a lot of them are very similar, right? That you really have to choose wisely when you're investing in AI projects, because people are gonna, it's like I said earlier in the stream. If there's too many of something, it devalues those projects. So too many AI projects devalues each project just because of supply and demand. Basically, like that's the way I see it. But if you find the right ones, people are going to gravitate to projects that maybe are tied to something that's meaningful, like that pet app, like the veterinarian app, and so on and so forth. So Eli 5A, do your research on it. They're doing great. One of the latest developments for Eli 5A is that they're eliminating hallucinations in their AI, chatbot or whatever you call it. And that's big because ChatGPT, Grok, all of these are, look, they're great, tools, but they're not 100% accurate. And Eli 5A is trying to make this as accurate as possible, especially because it's research-based, right? It's just based on research on articles, on scientific articles, on research papers, white papers, that sort of stuff. Things that have scientific research behind it and have experts. Obviously, there's always going to be that that level or that degree of whether it's something's true or not. That's always something they have to question. Just because information can be biased, there's always going to be some sort of bias. But I think that Eli 5A is trying to eliminate that, and I think that's one of the beauties of this project, and why once it's found by bigger investors, I think it could do very, very well. Obviously, nothing's certain. I always say that because nothing's certain in life or in crypto, especially in crypto. But I think it's a good project to look at. What is up, BTCB Space? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks everybody for stopping by. This is so far like a super successful stream. Like it's the first one. I'm pretty excited, and it's gone fairly well. And hopefully I'll be able to do this every Monday and sometimes on the weekends, just to hang out and really look at charts and really just talk about the market and so on and so forth. If you have any projects that you want me to look at, still have a little bit of time before we hit the hour mark. I will be shutting this down at an hour. Just I don't want to go too crazy on this. It's my first one, but definitely let me know. I'll take a look at them. Maybe not this one, but not today, but maybe some other day. But anyway, one last one that I look at, and look, I actually, let me give you the story behind this one. This is Mega Base Coin. The chart doesn't look really nice, let me tell you, but I think it's looking promising, with the exception of this huge dump somebody dumped. It's looking pretty nice. Looks like there's some growth, and it's steady growth. It's at a $518,000 market cap. I know Ray, one of the developers, he reached out, and look, full disclosure, I created some videos and he provided some supply. The only reason I did that, I've never done that before. The only reason I did that is because I trust Ray and I like Ray and I like this project and the way it's being put together. So if you want to check it out, it's Mega Base Coin and it's obviously on the base chain and they have the website. You can check it out. It has like the tokenomics are kind of complex, but basically if you hold like $200 of Mega Base Coin, you'll get rewards. And I love tokens that will reward you. I love airdrops. I love rewards. I love yield. I definitely love all these tokens that are going to give you something for holding, especially because I'm a long time holder. And by long time, I mean months, years, it doesn't matter. I'll be holding. And I think that's for me, that's the best way of investing, and it's paid off. The first, 6 months, I didn't do very well because I was just, in the meme coin frenzy. And then at this point, I'm holding and I'm accumulating DCA. And look, I'm doing very well. I'm happy where I'm at right now. I had a lot of losses in 2024. 2025, it was like, okay, I'm changing my strategy. And I'm going to continue the 2025 strategy of, accumulating and, buying the dips and that sort of stuff, especially on projects that are solid. And I'm looking at projects right here that are fairly solid. So yeah, with the exception of that huge red candle dump, I think this chart is looking well. It's looking pretty good. I think that if that had not gone down, we'd probably be up here getting closer to 700,000 market cap. And take a look at this one. Thank you, Four Wheels. Thanks for stopping by, man. Have a good evening. Have a good night. Good night. Thanks for watching. And I'll catch you on the next one for sure. I appreciate you. What up, Ant Skull? Good to see you here. Welcome. We're taking a look at some charts right now. Thanks for stopping by. We're close to the end of the stream, but anyway, I'll keep going on this. But yeah, anyway, Mega Base Coin. Shout out to Ray. I think he's done a great job. Look, launching a token is not easy, right? It's a challenge. It's challenging, and they've done it, and I think they've done it very nicely. And look, the two things that I like about this coin and why I'm looking at it, and it's very early. It started, I think, was it December 9th? When was it that was launched? I think it was, the chart starts December 9th. Yeah, December 9th it was launched. It had that huge sell candle or dump, on December 23rd. Somebody was trying to buy presents with that. But look, the only reason I'm holding this, and I will likely buy a little bit more, is because I know the folks that are running it, and he's one of the folks from the Shibon base community, which definitely has a bunch of great people in it. And two things that I love about this project. The first thing is that it rewards for holding, which is always a good thing for any project, right? The second thing is that eventually, like from the 1% tax, because it has a tax, and I'm okay with taxes. I mean, in crypto, not in like government taxes, of course. But I'm okay with a 1% tax because there's a revenue stream for the project. That's one thing that I think is super important at this point. If you're into meme coins, if you're into projects, make sure that they have some sort of revenue, right? They have to have some sort of revenue because I've seen it many times. When you don't have a source of revenue, how are you going to market? How are you going to do things, right? How is the project going to grow? You can't just bet on people liking your project and investing in your project because of the narrative or because of what you're doing. There has to be some sort of either flywheel effect, some sort of in income that's coming in that can be re-injected, some type of burn. And this one has it all. This one has a tax, a revenue stream. This one has an auto burn as well. This one has rewards for holding and so on and so forth. So check out the website. And finally, one of the things that I like about this project is that they're going to donate to real charity. So there's a percentage of the income that's coming into the project that the community is going to vote on, where that goes. So we're still super early for Mega Base Coin. It's barely like a month old. There's still a lot of time for this to grow and to mature. This is the chart for the daily chart. And again, without that huge red candle, I should say, without that, this project would probably be up in the $600,000 range. And look, I like the organic growth and the slow growth. It's going up and it's slowly moving. If we continue that trend and the market continues to move that way, we'll be up close to 700,000 in maybe, a month or so. So hopefully that happens for Mega Base Coin. Love the people behind it. Love the concept. Love the idea. And hopefully it continues to go up. But just another option, right, to check it out. Anyway, hey, Nick, good to see you, brother. Shib on Base, BTCB, and Eli 5A, of course. I think those are some of the top projects that I'm taking a look at. And so anyway, one last one that I'll show you real quick. And this one that this is extremely early. I have a very, very small back compared to my other investments, but this is blue, and I'm into this one because I love Blue Demon, which was a Mexican wrestler. I think memes still have a place in crypto, even though a lot of them, now are switching to utility meme coins. But Blue is one of my, this one's just one that it's like a passion project for me. I'm involved a little bit in helping the dev. Proof is out there. He came to base from the, Sonic, formerly known as Phantom chain. And he's now like a full-on blue, full-on base junkie. And I appreciate, Proof. Not the Bitcoin on Base Proof. It's another Proof. If you know Proof from Bitcoin on Base. He's Proof from the Phantom / Sonic chain. He's now on the base chain. And I think he made a good choice in coming here. And shout out to Proof. He's leading the Blue. He also leads Bird, and it's just meme coins, but they're fun. And I love the memes. They're doing great art. And then I have a nice little bag. It's on Flaunch or whatever it's, however you pronounce it. Pretty safe platform. I did my due diligence. You just obviously you connect your wallet and then, buy from there and so on and so forth. And this is on the base chain. Eventually it's going to be tradable on, the base app. And then, they're working on the DEX tools or DEX screener, purchase and that sort of stuff so that we get more eyes on. But it's been steady ever since I got in. I got in at 12K market cap. It's now at 14, about 15. And it continues to grow, and like more folks are coming into TG. So this one's extremely, extremely early, super high risk, but this one that I love. And anyway, just wanted to show you that one, guys, because I'll probably talk more about it as more of the infrastructure for the token starts being built. I'll share a little bit more about it, and maybe you guys want to support that one. But anyway, obviously I won't tell you what to do. This is more like entertainment and just going through stuff and so on and so forth. So anyway, there you have it, guys. So I think I'm coming to the end of this stream. I really appreciate. Oh, it's like disco lights here. Anyway, coming to the end of the stream, I really appreciate you guys stopping by. This is the first one I've done ever, and I will definitely keep doing these. I'm excited just to be here. I'm excited to hang out with you guys. I appreciate you guys coming in the chat and just hanging out for about a year. Definitely, I'll probably do these streams for about an hour, every week on Mondays, just to talk about what happened the weekend and get you ready for the week in terms of the market and crypto and what's going on. And then we can take a look at, projects that you want to take a look at. Like I said, I'm not the best charter. I'm not the best chart reader. I'm a communicator, but I can definitely read the charts and communicate kind of what's going on. And we can make sense of the market together and kind of think about things and really just be here. Because this is the first one. I hope to be here. And I hope you guys are here when the market goes freaking insane. And when, the frenzy and your grandma and your mom are talking about the market and it's ready to pull the trigger and take some really big gains so that, all this time that we've been invested in this, looking at charts, being in the communities, so that all that time pays off. I want to be here with you guys. I want to be here. I want to, celebrate those wins with you guys and hell, like go through the losses, right? Because we're going to probably go through some pains, on the way up, but definitely I'm here to talk about it. So anyway, guys, that's it for today. I really appreciate you guys that join. I really appreciate you guys for stopping by. Shib on Base community, Bitcoin on Base community. Thank you for being here. Bitcoin on Virtuals. Who else stopped by? Blue on Base was here. Who else? Well, Eli 5A folks were here. Sweet. Eli 5A. And then who else was here? Somebody with what was it? Oh, Four Wheels Don't Care. Thanks, man. He went to bed. But anyway, shout out everybody. Thank you for being here. Have a good night. Have a great week. Subscribe to the channel. Share it with people. Watch from the beginning if you came in late. And also, follow on X. I'm always posting stuff. And some of it's good. Some of it sucks. but I do it with a lot of love. Talk to you guys later.